Welcome back. Today we're talking about tactical gear. We're not going to talk about blasters, we're just talking about gear. Obviously in the hobby space right now, we've got a lot of hype about the SCRD Kickstarter. It's funded, I threw money at it, I want blue and orange gear. Shock of shocks, right? But I want to talk about mag holders, because as we all know, I am thoroughly invested in these quivers from Armstrong Accessories. And here's the thing, he just came out with a new version of them. And I want to talk about them a little bit. We're going to talk right here, then I'm going to put them on the bench. I'm going to show you how one of them gets put together so it goes on my gear. We're going to talk about how they work. So first and foremost, you'll notice that yes, I have a bunch of talons in here, but I have a variety of mag types in here. So I have both the purple and orange versions of the new DZP mags. I still really like these. The deco on them is great. I have an angled talon, because yes, it will accept angled talons, just like it does straight talons. I have both the Tachi and the Coda mags, right? It'll take both of those. Though candidly, I'd want to go to a little more severe detent for these. These don't like to hold in great. This is fine. And I've got one of the XYL mags, specifically the one that came with something else you guys haven't seen yet. So it'll accept any of the standard mags and it'll do so well. It holds them securely. It holds 3 of them for 2 sections of Molly, which is a pretty good trade. And as you can see on just like the front half of my chest rig here, I have a total of 12 magazines. That is a lot of capacity. Right? If you're just running 15s, that's 150 rounds. Yeah, 150 rounds ready at hand. And if you're running something a little more large and severe, which, I'll be real, I don't know how I would run 12 of these. That would be very awkward and uncomfortable, but you could do it. So, very happy with the new version. They still have my name on them, which I'll show you when we put it together. And we'll compare the old version to the new version. So let's go do that. Like I said, we'll get over on the bench and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here in my right hand, we have the original model that we've all been using. And here in my left, we have the new model that just came out. And you'll notice immediately that across the front face, they are a little wider in the new model. They feel a little more rigid, a little more inflexible, which is good. And their fit and fitment feels a little more extreme. So putting these things together has always been one of my favorite parts about it, because you have a couple of ways to do it. This is the detent that goes in behind, right, and makes them accept mags. Right, because it just goes in where your normal mag detent would be. Everything can be held together with a couple of kinds of screws. I use M5s because we're in the hobby space, right? Who wouldn't want to use the standard screw sizes? Fancy Hodo electric screwdriver. If you ask me, an absolute must in the hobby space. Saves my wrist, and I love that. Extra long blades, because you'll see in a second. So, that's our detent in. So now this will accept mags normally. As I said, there is now an extreme version of this detent that is more rigid, and I think a little more pronounced tooth. That means you can wear these things upside down, and then they won't, just drop mags on you in the field. There are 2 ways to attach this to your Molly gear. It's designed to work with these Blade Tech retention clips, which have a snap on the back and will clip in. I use these because I tend to change my gear up fairly regularly, right? I have different kinds of mags I carry, different kinds of accessories I might need. I might want to cover my whole vest in holders for 40 millimeter foam grenades. Who knows? I'm a wacky guy. Pull this thread. Yeah, there we go. Back to the Hodo, because save my wrists. What's funny is I also have a really fancy screwdriver here, and instead I'm just using the blade and the Hodo. So this is why I have the extra long screwdriver blades for putting this thing together. These lower holes, really, you're going to be persnickety. These lower holes that are closer to the, like the accessory plate, the front plate, are difficult to get at with a short blade, but with this great big long blade, it's no problem at all. And just make sure this one's tight. There we go. Yep. And the other one, same way, right? Into those little holes with these Chicago screws. Good. There's always one of them that doesn't want to thread, and I have to like fight with it for 10 minutes to get it to thread in properly. Drives me crazy. If you can't get them to thread and they're just free spinning, it's always an option to come in here, press on the back, and then they always want to thread in there. So that's a fully assembled Armstrong Accessories Quiver. It's got its detent, it's got its loops. There are molly loops and belt loops included with the file set, so you can mount these any which way you want to mount them, but they are my favorite way of holding magazines. Armstrong Accessory Quivers. They're super. It's a whole box of them.